You get a company-wide email which says the company just rolled out Microsoft Copilot and you are an AI-first organization now. And then you actually use it. And within 2 weeks, you realize that this thing is basically a slightly smarter autocomplete that only works properly if you are already living inside Microsoft's world. And if you're a developer trying to do things seriously outside Word, Excel, or Outlook, you have just been handed a very expensive productivity tool that actually doesn't fit your workflow. Today, I want to break down exactly why Copilot is not the enterprise solution it's being sold as. And I'll show you what I actually use instead. Let's start with the thing nobody says out loud. Copilot is not its own AI, it's a wrapper. Under the hood, it's running on Azure OpenAI, which is basically GPT-4o tuned for Microsoft's ecosystem. That's it, Microsoft doesn't own the model. So when you're paying for Copilot, you're actually paying for Microsoft to give you access to OpenAI's technology, locked inside Microsoft's infrastructure. You have zero say in what model you get. You can't switch to Claude if you need better reasoning, you can't use Gemini if you need deeper document analysis, and you can't touch an open source model if you have specific compliance requirements. You get GPT-4o, that's your one and only option. And Microsoft is totally fine with that, because the more logged in you are in their stack, the harder it is for you to move out. Second, the pricing looks reasonable until you actually scale it. Copilot starts around $30 per user per month, bundled into Microsoft 365. Sounds fine. But when you start using Copilot Studio, which is where the actual agent building happens and the part that's actually useful for developers, and the pricing model shifts to message-based. Every agent interaction costs you a message. Every time a user hits this agent, it's burning through a message quota. And at any serious scale, a few hundred employees actually using agents daily, that cost starts to climb in a way that are really hard to predict in advance. You signed up for a flat fee, but now you are managing a consumption meter you don't fully control. That's literally two pricing models stacked on top of each other, and neither of them is cheap. Third, and this one is for enterprise developers, Copilot only works well if your entire world is inside Microsoft ecosystem. Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, Azure. If your workflow lives in all of these, great. Copilot is genuinely useful for you. It reads your emails, pulls data from your calendar, and pulls document from your SharePoint. Inside that box, it's actually pretty good. And the moment you step outside the box, and almost every engineering team does, it starts to fall apart. You are on Slack, not Teams. Your docs are in Notion, not SharePoint. And your data is in custom database, not Azure. Your workflows runs on tools that have nothing to do with Microsoft. Copilot cannot help you there. It wasn't built for that. It was built to keep you inside Microsoft ecosystem, not to work across actual tools you are actually using. Fourth, this one is particularly relevant if you are in finance, healthcare, or any regulated space. Microsoft says Copilot has strong Azure compliance, audit logging, and data retention policies. That's true on paper, but your data is still going to Azure's cloud infrastructure. It's still leaving your on-prem environment. Azure is not your server, it's Microsoft's server. And there is no true on-prem deployment option for Copilot. None. If your legal team or your compliance team needs data to stay in-house, fully air-gapped and fully self-hosted, Copilot cannot do that. Copilot is a cloud-only product. Microsoft will tell Azure is safe enough. Maybe it is, but secure on someone else's infrastructure is not same as inside our own walls. And for a lot of enterprise right now, that distinction is the whole conversation. So here's what you actually need. If you're a developer trying to build something that actually works across your organization, you need to know about LyzrGPT. Here's why it directly solves every one of these problems. First, model flexibility. LyzrGPT is not tied to any single provider. You get OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, or any open source model, all in one interface. And it also auto switches based on what task you are running. Need to write something, it goes to Claude. Need research, it goes to Perplexity. And need any analysis, it chooses GPT-4o. You're not picking manually. The platform figures it out, and when a better model ships next week, you get it automatically. No re-platforming at all. Second, pricing. Pricing is consumption-based. You pay for what you actually use. No seat-based or no message-based quota. If your team uses it heavily this month, you pay for that. And if it slows down, you don't have to. The number actually makes sense, and it also works across your whole stack, not just Microsoft or Google apps. Your actual tools, documents, data sources, custom workflows, it's not ecosystem dependent. It was built to work whatever you're already using on. And for the compliance teams in the room, true on-prem deployment, self-hosted, your VPC, your infrastructure. Nothing goes to a third-party cloud. That's not on roadmap, that's available right now on LyzrGPT. Here's the thing about Copilot. It's not a bad product. Inside a Microsoft-heavy enterprise, for productivity tasks in Office app, it does what it says. But that is a very narrow use case being sold to you as a complete enterprise AI strategy. And if you're a developer or if you're trying to build some real workflows outside of Word and Excel, you are going to hit the ceiling very quickly. You deserve a tool that was built for how you actually work, not for one that was built to keep you in someone else's ecosystem. Go try LyzrGPT right now at chat.lyzr.app right now and let me know in the comments what you think about it.